You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to the Insight Fantasy AFL channel. I'm Bryce, joined with me is Nathan, as always. I've gone to the tonic to my gin for this one, Nathan. We dropped that for a bit, and it's like, I don't know how many alcoholic drinks we'll be able to keep it for.
I don't see it catching on, to be honest.
It's oddly romantic, isn't it? But regardless, round one is done. Teams are locked in. Everyone's really hoping that their rookies that they picked are the ones popping off. Hopefully, not too many people were owning a Neil or a Marshall or someone that's going to end your season this early on. But it's time to fix up your team and get those right rookies in making cash. Nathan, am I right?
Yeah, this is where you start your fix up. So prioritize those rookies generally, or if you have any injuries or suspensions or whatever. I don't think there were too many relevant players that got injured in round one, thankfully. No. But if you did take a punt on someone, then you can do that first. But otherwise, we're mainly looking now at rookies or failed mid-prices, I suppose.
100%. And with that, Nathan, let's look into who were the guys just burning up round one. This is why I'm hot. I'm gonna start with my first guy. I'm gonna start at the end for it, and that was Xavier Lindsay for mine. Someone that I panic traded in off the back of the news that Langford was starting as the sub, and I thought at least he'll get on time ground. If he gets subbed off, then oh well. But he played the whole game, and didn't he play it well? 94 for the points.
Yeah, it was outstanding. One of the better rookies to be on board. I unfortunately missed him while you were able to change the late news. I was away from home.
I was actually at a house party watching the F1, and I was that guy that was sat in the corner, curled up with a bowl of chips next to me, watching the footy on my phone. And once I saw, shout out to X, I think it's just AFL Subs is his name, and he's the go-to guy for all that. So you can't miss them. And when I saw that Langford on, I did the quick switcheroo.
Yeah, I'm a little upset. I didn't have the luxury of changing that on the day, but look, best way to sleep at night with these sorts of ones is just treat it as sometimes you get these rookies wrong anyway. So there's usually a couple. This time around, it just happens to be one that was a little bit tougher to avoid. I would have loved to make that switch, but by all means, that might just be something I have to do this week, right? That's
I was going to say it was not really any fault of yourself, but 22 touches, 6 tackles is what impressed me, because watching some of the preseason stuff, he was quite a thin, wiry guy. I mentioned that he wasn't afraid to put his head over the footy, but in terms of actually getting in and amongst it, he performed super well. Nath, have you got someone that was hot that's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to cast my eye towards our forward line. Just give a little bit of respect to some of these guys that we basically had in our team all season long. So I think it can be easy to just forget them, right? You expect them to do this.
Correct.
Bailey Smith, 126, outstanding.
Gee,
right?
Wasn't he great?
You wouldn't have known he'd missed a couple of years of footy. You've got Caleb Daniel pumping out a 90. Jack McRae crossed over the ton, even though it was a very one-sided game. There wasn't a lot of ball for St Kilda players. He's still, 109. I think sometimes it's easier to just walk over these guys, forget about them, but let's just take a moment, acknowledge there's a reason we all had them.
Acknowledge me. And yes, on the same end, Sanders somewhat rescued his score. We didn't get to watch, I didn't get to watch much of the game because we had our stream going for the blowout that was Collingwood v Port Adelaide, but that's a conversation for another time. I suppose from that, we saw a mix of the good and the bad. We had our man Rosie, you were just saying before the filming, he was ranked the best player on field, especially in the second half. He was, inside their forward 50, defensive 50s, racking up the touches and gotten over the mill, and his price moving the right way.
Yeah, he was halfway through the second quarter, you would have thought, God, do we even have to think about trading him out? And you don't want to overreact to these sorts of starts, even if he did have a stinker the whole way through. But no, he did what we expected him to do. He started finding a lot more of the ball. And yeah, that's just a great start to the season for him.
Mm-hmm. I think
Richmond
while
to
we're
come as well.
on... Yeah, exactly. That's what we're holding out for. And I'm glad you mentioned that. We go down here. We both ended up getting him to Jason Horn-Francis. I'm going to be honest, 82 in a game for a, mid-forward in a game where they lost by nearly, 100 points. I think, you'll take that, move on to the next against Richmond, who had that great win, but are still going to finish bottom. And... see him pump out a good, 110, 120 plus for us.
Yeah, he's saved his score well enough in the end. Doesn't drop too much in cash. Still, obviously, a disappointing start to the season, but let's not overreact on anything like that. He's gone solid.
Yeah. Someone I do want to react to. We talk about fix-up trades, and I think you know where I'm going, and that is to Harry Perryman, 49. My goodness. He was just never in the frame. I don't know what he was doing. He was having a nice early dinner or what, but I just couldn't see him anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wasn't a game well suited for midfielders, but
especially defensive one like him, yeah.
He wasn't in the middle as much as he was in preseason. So, or even last week, he dropped down to 42% for CBAs, which isn't to say he's out of the mix, but Sidebottom went in there a lot more. Ned Long got a lot of CBAs as well. So it'll be interesting to see that going forward. He could be definitely one of our cold players this week. I don't know if it's a must trade out necessarily, but you wouldn't mind moving him along if you've got nothing else to do.
If you've nailed your rookies, it's the luxury that you have. I think while we're still on the hot players, sorry mentioning Perryman in that segment, but
carried away.
Dude, I saw the footy and just went head first into it. But looking at your break evens, you've got your Halls, Camporelli, Lindsay, Warner's still got to buy. On Hall, he's the one that outperformed his price by the most last week, but I still don't like the role for him as a tall forward in a struggling Saints team. I think it'll be a bit of a one-off. What do you think?
Well, he's done a lot for his job security this week. I'll definitely say that. In a side where not a lot of players were running hard, and he gave it a solid crack. He's not this sort of fantasy scorer for us. It probably drops back down to being that 50 sort of guy. So by all means, if you've started with him, that's great.
Absolutely,
you're very happy with that. But I think some of these other rookies, whether it's a Camporelli type, Ashcroft, if you didn't have him, some of these guys are probably just going to outperform a bit better over the next month. Exactly
on that. That's just one for the people that see, low break even, he's a must get in rookie. It's not quite how it works. Just make sure you're watching the game, watching those roles, and if they're fantasy relevant to us, the likes of guys that are getting mid time, that don't have the bye, which is why Warner and Reed are no-goes. Same with Hanley off the bench. Constantine's a forward again. We didn't watch that game. What did you see of him?
I only saw glimpses. Again, I think it's fine if you started with him. I think there's a few other rookies I'd put ahead of him still, but if you want, it's definitely an option.
Exactly, yeah. Well, Reed did the job for us as well. That Zachary, that is in our defence. You can't ask for any more than that from him. Levi, another interesting one that you missed as well. Is this hard watching for you?
I could live with Levi because I've missed him because he was named as the sub.
Yep.
And then there was a late change that brought him back into the 22.
Cameron's calf,
and he went really well. So by all means, I wish I had him. But it wasn't too hard to watch because the guy that took his spot, just a few names down there on the break-even list, was Mitch Nevitt. And he played
Woof.
just a couple of hours earlier, so I think that made it a lot more comfortable, right? I wasn't sitting there thinking, I brought in a rookie who scored 50 instead. I got a guy that's gone a ton at around that, what was he, a 410, 420 price tag?
Yeah, 431 he lined up at, yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely helped.
Yeah, no, I think, with him as well, you see all the prices of these guys in the 200s, 300s. This guy's nearly at 500k, and he's still generating that much cash. If you need that mix of points and cash generation, he's a fantastic trade in if one of your midfield rookies didn't perform. Would you be looking to trade out a Langford or a Draper, one of those guys that didn't have the role or job security early on?
As someone that owns both of them, I think Langford would go first for me. I think Draper just, in his time on ground, looked a bit more impressive. And he got like 7 or 8 CBAs as well, coming on as a sub. So, and that's not to say he'll have that central role if he's starting, but I did think he played quite well. Might be more likely to be in the 22 next week.
Yeah.
And by all means, I would absolutely target Nevitt. Like, he was probably top 5 players on the ground. Like, just outstanding. And
fantastic.
One of the concerns with Nevitt would have been, like, and I think you were talking about it as well, like, especially looking at the team list, you thought he might be a sub risk with
correct.
Clark
I did
on the bench. Well,
yep.
You looked at it, it's like, hell, maybe Dangerfield's a sub risk before Nevitt is. Like,
correct.
I'm exaggerating a touch, but Nevitt just he looked very comfortable at the top level.
He did. And it's not like Geelong are missing any midfield as well. That's his role. There's no one taking it off him. There's no one coming back from an injury or that just missed. So he's in, and hell, you might have talked me into going him.
Yeah, it was third highest excluding Ruckman, third highest CBAs for the Cats. So he's ahead of Bailey Smith, ahead of Dangerfield. Like, that's where he is in the pecking order.
Love it. I think moving on, our forwards in Davidson and Stone, again, just like Zachary, did exactly what we wanted to, and they have stone solid rolls, not rock solid, Connor Stone. They're in. They're not moving.
There must be a cricket sound effect. Oh no.
We're still adding them. We're still adding them. Need it for you more than me, hopefully. Trainer, same thing as well. Rock solid job security, did the job, moved in. Jack Henderson, not confident in his.
Trainer, like, Trainer looks really comfortable. Like, I know Lawler's going to get all the raps.
Well, he did. Did you see he got the Rising Star nomination during the day today?
I did see. And he played great, and he deserved it. But I think Trainer just overshadowed a little. But he was outstanding, like, and not just from a fantasy context, but I think Richmond have really got someone there.
Yeah, it looks far beyond his years is what I think. I always talk about the those real good rookies already just like I said, look comfortable, have that composure, and just make you think like they're not phased. They've been doing it for years. Moving down, McStay and Aiden Johnson, some key forwards. You don't want them. Lawler's an interesting one. He's not a trade target, a bit like some of the others. I just jumped on because I was happy with his job security, and I talked about it during keep on referencing the prior videos, but I was sort of locking in the rookies as I went, just by the off chance that a Draper or a Langford would get a sub or something. And turns out that's worked out quite well for me in the end. Can't say much more than that. Hasty, talking of sub risks, got that sub and is a no-go. Is he a trade out?
I wouldn't put him as a trade out. Like, you can definitely move him on to another rookie, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's still starting next week. Like, it wasn't like he was subbed off as like some absolutely awful player when he came up. Like, there were several worse than him out there, so he should be fine.
Just keep an eye out for that. Hot guys, the definition of hot. Sam de Koning, we both went with him after, seeing we say don't pay too much attention to preseason, but when someone's getting a new role, that's the kind of things you watch. He was the number one ruck for Geelong. He didn't score well in the Pracky game, which we were licking our lips at, weren't we? Watching people jump off, knowing what this guy could do. And he played an interesting bit of a role, didn't he? Because he was in the centre bounces, but then not in the taps up or down the field. He was just, how would you describe what he was doing? Some hybrid.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hybrid role. There was a bit of blitz serves in the ruck, and like Keane took a couple even around the ground.
Danger took a few.
Danger did take some. I don't know about that option going forward, but
no, is this a ruckman?
No, I think Sam de Koning, he might be top of the list for players to bring in. Not to say he's going to average 120 on the year. I think that'd be asking a bit much, but he can genuinely push 85, 90 every week.
Yep.
That's what a solo ruck can do. It's what his brother can do, right? So
he said this last week.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one, I reckon. Yeah.
Well, I wonder how far down we'll have to scroll to get to him while we're on it with Tom. It's a bit more further down the break evens just because of the prices. But Tom as well pumped out 132 I think it was for him, and didn't he look comfortable without Pitney there? Yeah,
no, very good ruck option. Probably pick of the rucks. Not much else to say on that.
Big relief for myself. I don't know about any of you, viewers and listeners, but I went the Captain Jerry and Koenig double ruck with Boyd as it should be on the pine there. But the amount of temptation, I was shaking at the bit of the idea of getting Gawn against Keith, and I think he only scored 5 more than Jerry in the end, which looking at what they're capable against when it's not against 65-year-old ruck opposition, I think I've nailed my rucks. Did you go the same?
Yeah, the same ruck setup. Sherry just out-picked Gawn in the end. So.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
beat him
even better.
So yeah.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to blame that one on the price updates. They have that in footy? Probably not.
Not real, but very quickly after the game, they're pretty on top of things. It's not like
maybe I was just on top of things as well. Maybe that was it. But
sure,
yeah, I think I'd sort of zoomed on too quickly, but we were talking about Max Hall and how he outperformed this man on screen, Murphy Reed. You were there for? Were you with me for the Freo game? Was I just texting? We must have just been messaging.
I think we were just messaging throughout that one.
I was down in the dumps. I completely knee-jerked onto him after seeing... Yeah, they had a tall defender as sub. Who'd they have as sub for?
I'll look that one up quickly.
Yeah. Anywho, tall, so I'm like, great. He's no longer a sub risk. He's been playing midfield preseason. This guy's going to be a gun. And for the first 2 quarters, saw him rack up a 4 and a 0, which I had him on the field as well, just for that sub risk of the other players too. And I thought, great, my season's already done 3 or 4 games in. And then he goes, bang, 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 bang in that third quarter, produces a 50+ score. So yeah, it was the great escape. I was trying to make a Photoshop for it for the Twitter, but the great escape with Murphy Reed. I hate owning him. He will not come anywhere near my team just because they didn't look like they wanted to pass to him. He was in acres of space the whole just throughout parts of the game, and I'm screaming, get it to him, pass it, and then they just turn it over. But saved by the not saved by the bell, saved by the posts, I guess.
Yeah, you're happy to save a good score, but by a long shot, you don't trust him to get close to a 70 again after that game.
Nope.
He could be a 30 averaging sort of rookie.
Correct.
Do not trade in.
Nope.
You don't have to figure it out yet, right? He's got a bit
Exactly.
of cash in him after that score, so
Yep.
he'll be among the first rookies to go. You get rid of him long before you get rid of an Ashcroft type, but I'm happy for him to sit there a couple more weeks.
O'Driscoll did enough as well on that topic. It was between O'Driscoll and him in the end. Look, O'Driscoll scored 16 more points. He was just dominating CBAs. He was playing what I thought Murphy was going to be playing. But yeah, that was hurting for those first two quarters, like I say. But anyway, we move. Trade talk. I think O'Driscoll's another one of them. Don't bring in with Young coming back, but also don't trade out. He's doing a good job. He's there to make cash.
I don't mind the idea of bringing them in. It's just I feel like there's going to be better, right? Like if you're choosing between him and Nevitt, for example, I think it would quite easily be Nevitt.
Correct.
And then even if you're going cheaper to some of these other rookies, if you want to jump on a Lindsay, an Ashcroft, or O'Sullivan, any of these guys that
Camporelli.
Camporelli, yeah, like they should generate more cash than what an O'Driscoll's going to score for you.
I like it. So we've been talking about our cash gen, which is obviously the aim of the game in these early seasons. But I want to look at some high scorers who just popped off. Caldwell, yeah, I know you've diced in and out of just throughout sort of, years gone prior, but you just can't trust him, can you?
No, I mean, he's capable
Not priced
of
at that
game, but yeah, it's not beyond him to have a game like that. He could come out with a 50 next week.
Tom DeConey, we touched on Jerry, we touched on Dunkley. Has been a fantasy gun in previous years, but I saw a stat of his stats coming back with Ashcroft coming back. His averages went right down, and I think we can almost see a direct correlation of when Ashcroft flops, who he'll be another one for the cold guys. Donkey goes up, and I think between the two of them, I'm not really a fan of either.
Yeah, and it's important to note too, like at this point in the year, we're not trading in these premiums, right? It's all about cash gen. Like even if Dunkley's scoring well, he's not going to generate you cash, right? So if it's an underpriced primo, right? So maybe it's a Clayton Oliver type or Petrarca, some of these guys that they can generate
Bailey
cash
Smith.
Big scores. Bailey Smith. Please tell me you've got him in your team if you're listening. Don't tell me that's a trade target. He should just be in your side already.
We're not trying to lose listeners, but if you don't have them...
You know what? No, I'm happy to lose those listeners. That's fine.
Yeah.
that means they weren't listening enough, right? They already weren't listening.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd have taken our advice, locked him in, thrown away the key. We're not too concerned about these top guys. It's just acknowledging they're there, being aware of them. So in a month or two's time, when we do start to bring in primos, you can have a look at some of these guys.
Yeah.
That's probably the main time to target them.
Yeah, obviously going well against Keith. Now Dawson, this one hurt, Nathan, because I know you were very, very hot on Brayshaw. I wasn't as after his preseason stuff, but I said, you know what, there's enough before the preseason, prior averages, other stats around his season, injuries, roles, won't get a tag. And Dawson would have been my other guy. Obviously copped the tag from Windhager in the second half, but I think the damage was done by then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm still happy with Brayshaw as a pick. Look, Adelaide aren't going to win by 10 goals every week. Freo aren't going to lose by 13 goals every week. That plays a big factor. Yeah. It's easy to overlook it because some players still score well, but look, let's be realistic. Dawson's just not going to get that much of the ball week after week, right? That's not to say he won't be a good pick, right? It's still a great option, but I'm more than comfortable with Brayshaw as my M1 still. I'm happy with that decision.
In your top 8 mids?
He'd be in my top 8, probably. Yeah. I don't know, 4th or 5th, somewhere in that range. He'll be among the top scorers.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's got that Mr. Fix-It role as well, which we don't know when, a text goes down or something, they need an extra tall forward, and he gets you 80 or something, well below what he's priced at. So yeah, like you
didn't
said,
really need to
it's
fix anything, did they? On the weekend, they were pretty
no.
comfortable.
Did you need to fix anything at your house watching that game?
Oh, I don't know, just calling a new psychologist, new
Yeah,
therapist. That's
good.
about it.
Good.
You got them on speed dial. That comes with your membership package. As a Saints
Wow.
supporter,
Generous. Yeah, a couple guys like that you can't really go. Wits and Nank at Saligo. They'll have these Simpkin. They'll have these games. It's not a big one. Do you really want to talk about any of them?
I think the only other one, maybe towards the bottom of your screen there, Jack Ross. Just a touch on
Really?
him. Just because he really stood up as the man in that Richmond midfield.
Really?
Which I
Over
don't think any of
Taranto?
us saw coming. We all assumed it would be Taranto, right?
Yeah.
And then Hopper as second field. But Ross took charge of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying jump on him yet. This is probably more of a watch list sort of one. But at 700k, we're not talking about a premium that you bring in and they're not going to generate cap. Like, if he's going to be a top midfielder for the Tigers this year, like, maybe he pushes a 90 average. That could be great. We just haven't seen this side of him before. So we probably need to see a little bit more before we jump on. But I just want to put a little bit of a spotlight on him because that was just a great game from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
That's where he goes. I think there was one other that we went past. Yep. Tom Powell, we said it all pre-season. We think it's going to be his year, but just didn't have enough at the start of this year to risk it. And yeah, he popped off as well. So he also goes on the same watch list as Ross, I'm more than happy to say. A few other guys who don't have great roles. This guy, Nazai Wangani Malira. He was someone that was in and out of our teams that we didn't go with as well.
Yeah. Well, another one of those, you're not devastated by not owning him, right? Because he's not going to make you cash. And we sort of knew that. Like,
Yeah,
hoping
correct.
maybe go a few points ahead of his price tag. And
I was hoping he'd just be a D8 if he could sit D8 for this year.
Yeah, and like, it was a good game. If you have him in your team, you're pretty happy with that score. Happy to keep him in. I don't think you need to trade him in or anything like that either. He just demands the ball a bit more than he used to,
yeah.
right? I can very easily see him being a D1 in fantasy at some point in his career. It might not be this year, but I don't think it'll be too long till he's getting those 110 averages.
There was a part of the game where I was watching it and I see, so Brad Hill has it on the wing. He has an option for just a short little drop inside 50. He has the option to go long. His head turns at right angles, sees Naz and picks it straight to him. And I think that's just a real show of sort of what St Kilda are going to look to do with regards to this guy as well. We talked about Rosie. Zorko's going to keep doing what he's doing. Amon will have those kind of games. Yeah, I'm pretty sold. Rankin, I should probably touch on him. It was him or Hornfred. Damn, we're missing a lot of these 50-50s early on, Nathan. But again, these ones are ones that aren't going to ruin your season.
Yeah, I don't think Rankin was great either. Like, he was only 37% CBA, so it's not like he had that midfield role like we were hoping. Like, he got a good amount of it, but it was still that forward midfield mix. So, again, in a game as that sort of centre forward sort of player, when you're winning by 10 goals at home, the concern could be, does he go much better than 107 in other weeks, Like, maybe that's closer to where his ceiling's going to be this year. He can't push beyond that, and there'll be weeks where Adelaide get pumped, and he's sitting there on a 50 for us. So, I think if you've gone Horn Francis, that's fine. I don't think it's one to worry about too much, but definitely a good start for Rankin.
I'm gonna somewhat disagree with you on some of the stuff. I reckon he was playing, generally in the midfield. I was looking forward for him, and I could never see him just because he was always there back and around the footy. It might just be because it spent so much time in Adelaide's forward half. But the other thing as well, you say, I agree, he didn't play a great game and he still got 102, So what happens if he does burst a game apart like we know he's capable of?
Yeah, I mean, it's not beyond him. I'm just more concerned. We've been talking all pre-season, this Adelaide midfield, you can't quite work out what's going to happen.
Forced to drop Peatling, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on him as a midfielder. I think he's going to spend too much time forward.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you've got him, by all means, it's a good start for him.
Yep.
And he might continue it.
Yeah, great call. I think, what else day did we expect him to do? We touched on that so much in the round 0 review show. Fraser, well, he showed he can do it with Dale now. He was sort of that central guy on that half back. And yeah, again, another frustrating one that we're in the conversations that we didn't back in.
I think what was interesting about him, though, is he ended up with the 36% CBAs. So, and I wouldn't expect that to last when all the troops are back to the door.
Yeah.
That's not to say he gets dropped. He just moves back to the halfback or essentially wing still. But it's nice to know they have that faith in him. Makes him a definite option for us this week. If we're trading out mid prices, he could be one that you bring in.
Is he going to be a victim of the Bevo machine, though, is the question as well. I sure hope not. Yeah. Might be one we don't have to worry about after next year, possibly. Your man never there again. And yeah, I think that sums it up. Callahan, we talked about. He's going great. This might be his season, I hope. God, yeah. Not a lot more we talked about it for that long. Yeah, I'm cheering with that. Chera owners will be happy with what he did against Richmond, even though they lost. What Merritt doing what he does. Brayshaw, I'm somewhat disappointed with it. You're fine, but like you said, it was a game. Yeah, in a game where they got pumped.
Bad score, right? Like it's a 95.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he scores 10 more points, you're probably happy.
I am. Yep.
It's not a big deal. He can come out with a 130 next week and he'll start
all be forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Well, yeah. I think we talked about enough hot players. If there's anyone we missed, then yeah, leave it in the comments. But yeah, Track showed he still got it. Richards without those Dogs midfielders. Stewart played an interesting role. Anyone else you really want to talk about, Nathan?
I think that about covers it there.
Yeah, Silvani in that forward role did great. Yeah, all right, well, on the opposite end, and there are a few people whose heads are on the chopping blocks, I think it's time to go to... those guys on the other end that just... Yeah, these are the ones that are season enders, and I think the main one people considered with Brisbane missing their opening round and therefore missing their bye, letting people go with an underpriced primo is my man Lockie Neal. I already saw him as not too fantasy relevant. You sort of had somewhat of an interest, but nothing beyond that. But yeah, just horrible.
Yeah, there was never going to be enough value in it for me, but you wouldn't have expected a 37. It's like the lowest score he's had since his debut season. So
yeah,
that's a really bad start. It does probably increase his relevance in fantasy, though, funnily enough, because it's going to bring his price down over these next few weeks, even if he starts to score hundreds again. And then maybe it's a nice simple trade from like a Peatling or a Nevitt, even if Nevitt keeps going.
Yeah, Nevitt. I was thinking that.
Nevitt straight across to Neil. How good's that going to feel?
Oh, wow, yeah. 700k, 800k Neil. Yeah, that is the possibilities. Your man Steele in there, talking about pre-show as well. Yeah, your man Kane, he was another guy that was in the volcano with him. He just looked slow, just completely behind the game, and I'm not really sure what to think.
Yeah, just a bad game from him, really. Didn't look too invested.
Yeah, obviously we saw that Dacos game in round 0 that's put his price and his average down, which is someone as well. It's not like Neil where it's a can pick up. We will be picking up Dacos at some point for a much cheaper discount.
Absolutely.
Who else is there that's somewhat sort of relevant? Sheasel. See, here was the risk with Sheasel, right? He still went 114, I think, and he's possibly losing cash.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why you don't start these top price guys, right? Like
Full price, yep.
like he's going to score that and still lose money. So if you don't start him, you jump on him, whether it's around the early buys or the mid-season buys, and you just get him that 50k, 100k cheaper. Like that's just the way to play AFL fantasy. It's all about value, and someone like Sheasel is not value. He's a great scorer,
Okay.
but you don't need that cash leakage in your backline, do you?
No, not this early where it's, like you said, all about building up that team value to set you up for the back end of the season. I feel like this isn't the best view just based off break-even to see, because obviously all your primos are already going to have that. I just think, this is one we might just go off sort of eye test, and we touched on Perryman was just, not sided. Anyone who really disappointed you as a cold guy?
Nothing massively disappointing. Like I'd have said Peatling I would have liked more, but again, it wasn't a bad outing. He still went up in cash, just not as much as you would have liked. Your Riley Sanders, like we said, saved his score a bit.
Rescue job,
So it's like it's not a disaster really. I don't think too many popular picks ended up dropping us a significant amount of cash.
No.
So I think it's a pretty strong effort from most of us to start the season.
It's going to be a really good one this season, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could even put your Drapers and your Langfords on the cold list to no fault of their own, obviously. But just with the roles you weren't expecting them to have.
Yeah, Langford especially. The fact that he dropped cash. Like, Draper did it enough in his short time on ground. Still getting a 37, going up in price. Like, I can live with that one a lot. I mean, he's nearly outscored Stone. So it's not like his score was a complete disaster. Langford, that one hurts a bit more, especially because it would have been straight to Lindsay. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Just going through the through the teams, Doherty starting as sub. He was someone I'd flirted with in my team as well. It's a good thing got rid of him. Hawthorn, Essendon. God, it's like you said, it's a tough one because a lot of people started off just fine, I guess, just doing what was expected of them.
Yeah, there weren't too many our cold players were really just guys that were, maybe it's just not ice cold. Maybe it's just a little bit of a chill, right? We're in the fridge, not the freezer. Hopefully next week they
defrost.
Defrost a little, yeah, exactly.
Just touching on the rookies again, not to say they're cold even though we're in the segment, but on Pryor, 62 did enough. We'll see. There's something that's making his role even more locked in that happened through the week. I'll get back to you on. I can't remember what it was. Something to do with the Bombers. Kako was great, 51, and that was a scary 51 for a non-owner of him. I can see this guy getting some great scores if he can get 2 or 3 goals or just keep coming up the ground like he's doing. Nearly got that 15 touches as a small forward, which we've said prior, he's not your sort of traditional small forward. He comes up the ground, gets plenty of it, had great junior numbers too. It looks like, Nathan, I'll be honest, I think we did a great bit of pre-season research because no one were saying apart from that Perryman really screwed us over.
Yeah, pretty happy across the board there.
Yeah, how good. Well, with that said, I'm happy to just jump straight into our
targets acquired.
So I think first things first, with your trades, instead of, obviously you want to be getting in the right guys, but more importantly, you want to be getting out those guys that are going to stop your cash and make that squad value go down. And the first guy for me has to be Perryman. I think that's put an absolute what? He stood on a bindi. He's running a race, and he's in bare feet in weedy grass. I don't know, probably could have done better there, but yeah, he stood on a bindi. He has to stop, pick it out of his foot, and his race is done because everyone's just going straight past him on their soft grass. So I'm getting him out. What defender do we look at going for that price, Nathan?
Well, I'd say at his price point, so if you didn't have De Koning, that's the first one in line.
Correct. Yeah, we should do. Preface that.
After that, we're probably talking about Freya. I just think he scored really well and should have pretty good job security.
Yeah, well, yes.
Other than that, maybe it means you're going down towards a rookie in the back line, and then maybe one of your other failed rookies, like someone on the bench, moves up to a mid-pricer. So that might be your Langford type up to a Nevitt in order to get Perrin down all the way to I don't know, maybe it's a Pryor or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. Which my other one, you can see I've got a whole host of Giants in, which I'm thinking now I've probably put too many. Just got excited by opening round, but Stone's going to sit there. Callahan's doing great. He'll sit there. It's probably getting rid of an Ash or a Taylor. Who do you think's the bigger trade out of those two?
Oh, Taylor, absolutely. I think Ash actually has the potential to just outperform his average going forward.
Yep.
Taylor, we just wanted it to be a quick cash grab. He went up in price more than anyone else in the round. And to be honest, it was probably still a little disappointing, right? Because what did he finish on? 47. I would have loved for that to just be a 60 or something. You live with it. It's 83K in 1 week. Like,
wow.
I'm still comfortable with that decision. I would have liked more. But, we move on. I think the concerning one with that is the fact that you probably have other trades to go with it. So if you need to trade him out this week, maybe you only get to do one rookie fixer, and that can be a bit concerning.
Yeah, in the case of others, thankfully I managed to dodge all of those. Like, my biggest rookie trade out at the moment is probably that Murphy Reed heart attack man. I don't see him being a massive fantasy scorer, but he's one that can wait because of his break even of 5. He'll get that, so at least he's still making me money. Are you able to share your team with the visual viewers, Nathan? You got that up?
Pull it up if you can waffle on for a few seconds. I know you love doing it anyway.
I do, yeah. Unfortunately, no more Bindi stories. But I think, O'Sullivan will rescue it. North were awful. I saw know if you saw the pic as well, Nathan, but there was a video of him for one of the last goals that the Dogs scored, running from an opposite wing to be the last man and he didn't even get a spoiler or anything, just to be there while the rest of the team were jogging. So he'll see better days as well. I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what are your trades, big man?
We
thought about? Yeah, we were saying that we're going to discuss it because we haven't even really talked about it much.
Yeah, and I might just jot it back to this as well, so it's showing the last round, or I'll go up here even. That'll do it better. Just because I started moving players towards the bench. So I think for mine, Taylor probably has to go out. I stand by that. Perryman, there's a chance I stick with Perryman, just because he was still in the middle. I don't feel great about sticking with him, but there's a real chance that happens. James Peatling, again, he played enough midfield time. I would have liked a better score, especially in such a dominant game, but he's a bit of a tackler, so it's hard to tackle people when they don't have the ball.
Nice.
On the bench, I think Draper I'm not too devastated by, because I think he's made a strong argument that he should be in the team next week.
Yeah, well, also on that, if you're comparing a Draper to a Murphy Reed, I'd be feeling a lot more comfortable if I had Draper somewhat getting his ball rolling rather than Reed after what I saw from him.
Honestly,
just
after 4
shithousing
weeks,
his way to a score.
Yeah, Draper should, after a month of footy, I think he outscores Reed. So he should be fine. Langford's the concerning one as a sub, and he didn't really get to do too much coming onto the ground. So he's probably one of the first to go, or at least the first of the rookies to go. Other than that, there's a couple of rookies, like a Stone, that it wasn't a great score, but you don't expect great scores out of these basement prices. And he's just sitting on the bench anyway. So long as he's making cash and he still has that job security, I don't really have too much of a problem with him. I'm looking at that one's upset me a bit. Not from a fantasy context. 68 from a R3 basement price is outstanding, but from a footy context, my God, did it look like I've never seen someone look so slow on a footy field. There was one play,
the Billy Walters of the AFL.
Well, there was one, must have been 10 out from our own goal, and he's got a 10-meter head start on the next crow in a 5-meter race, and he's lost it by 4 meters. I know Marshall's not fit. He clearly wasn't fit either.
No, poor guy.
It probably just means Boyd has that role, but God, even if you chuck the bloody Caminiti in the ruck or something, I'd probably rather that after that effort. That was awful to watch, but from a fantasy context, that's fine. We'll take it. 68. That's what we're here to talk about. It's not my therapy session, not yet.
Appointments later in the week.
And and I think overall rank as well. We'll just touch on it. I think you were 20 points behind me, so about the same. Don't be too concerned about these ranks, guys. I think a lot of the time we look at the rank and think it's the be-all, end-all.
Yeah.
A couple of things to consider. Are you getting a cash gen right? If you're getting a cash gen right, you'll make up the numbers as the season goes on. So that's probably the biggest thing. I think sometimes it's other little things too. Like for both of our teams, we had a Sam Taylor on field, right?
Yeah.
It's a terrible score, but like we said, 83K has gone up.
I'm worried about it.
That's just going to help us going forward, right? So you don't worry about that. Someone else maybe had a Freya in that position. They get an extra 50 points in you this week, and that's probably a lot of ranks at round one. But
have you heard any of the splits? Because I think, who was it? One of the Traders boys were in the 11Ks, and they were on the low 2100s. So that's 60 points for nearly 20,000 ranks, which, hearing about them, I'm much more happy. I think I've hit more rookies, got the cash gen really going, start of the season, and I'm excited, man. Yeah,
exactly. I think, honestly, both of us have had a pretty good start. Not perfect, right? It's never perfect. But I don't think either of us have too many headaches, right? We're probably both sitting on, at most 4 players that we're sort of hoping to get rid of, and not all of them must get rid of urgently this week either, right? So
no.
I think we're pretty good on that. I think most people are feeling relatively comfortable after round one. I think it's more the players we miss than the players we have, if anything.
Yep. Yeah, and on that, I was going to go on to talk about fucking who are captaining and stuff next year. We've still got another show before Thursday to do. The preview show. Yeah, can't take all the content here. We've hit good time today as well. We said we wanted it in that sort of 45-minute to an hour mark. We've nailed it, because there'll still be another 5 minutes of yap before the outro. But on that, we are doing the watch along for the Friday night game, which is, have you got the fixtures somewhere?
It is on the screen right now. Dogs versus Pies for Friday night.
Oh, lovely jubbly.
Back Pies games. We promise that's not on purpose. In the case of this
they're just getting the big ones.
Sort of forced to get the Friday night game.
Sorry about
that. I think Dogs Pies should be a very good game to be able to watch, and then as the season goes on, we'll try and get as many clubs in as possible. We want to try and get at least every club. Twice would be good.
I don't know how many North Melbourne or Richmond games we'll get.
A lot of teams will be harder because we're probably not going to do too many Sunday 1 p.m. watch-alongs. But
Suns v North or something.
But
alas, everyone has some sort of game. Like you say. Yeah,
and you never know what's going to be a great game, right? Who would have picked Richmond Carlton was arguably game of the round. Maybe Melbourne GWS or Sydney Brisbane was very good. I don't know. For my viewing, I thought Richmond Carlton was the one.
Yeah, I probably had a little bit of bias in what I thought, and that makes me very, very scared to stream any Brisbane games, that's for sure. I don't know how many people would be wanting to join in on a public therapy session for you either. Watch along, wouldn't even be watching the game, just keeping an eye on NATO.
It's only Geelong, right? It's only Geelong.
Yeah, well, you'll be fine.
They don't switch teams. That doesn't happen.
Nope. Well, yeah, overview. Well, the preview show we'll look to get out on our usual, I think it's a Thursday during the day we try to, so you can give it a watch before the Thursday night game. Obviously, we'll be locking in our trades for those then. A little overview, seeing what else everyone's doing, a little preview on the games, who we're watching, things like that. Follow the Twitters if you haven't already on screen for the audio listeners, PK_IFS for mine, and Fantasy Nate's O, the letter O, not the number, for Nathan. Good show, Nathan.
Yep, kept under an hour. What an effort.
Yeah. And I feel like didn't miss anything. Of course, if you did, feel free to tweet at us, leave it in the comments, things you want to see, whatever. We're still fairly new to the whole space, so we're trying to develop our schedules and stuff, which obviously will evolve as the rounds go on and everyone's ranks are going up, hopefully. Leave a like and subscribe onto the Insight Fantasy channel as well. That's where obviously you'll be getting all of our videos. Leave a comment if you're on Spotify. And anything else from you, Nathan?
No, I think we're all good. We'll catch everyone in a couple of days as we look at round 2.
Yeah, too easy, guys. All right, see you then.